Let's turn now to our new reporting about our government's alleged secret UFO program, and a story News Nation has been covering throughout, even when other networks have not. According to the latest report that's out, a secret CIA office has spent 2 decades recovering UFOs from around the world, has at least 9 of them in its possession, according to this report. This latest bombshell follows the shocking claims that Pentagon whistleblower David Grush first made right here on News Nation back in June.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do.
All right, let's go down to News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin. What more are you learning about this, Brian?
Yeah, Connell, we first broke the story with David Grush's interview, which you showed right there, that the United States government allegedly has this crash retrieval program. Now the Daily Mail with this bombshell report that came out today, saying that the CIA has a special office that is in charge of the crash retrievals. It's called the Office of Global Access. They say it's a secret office that works around the world when these UFOs crash. According to the Daily Mail, there are 9 UFOs that office has helped with going out and retrieving, and that 2 of them are actually intact craft. Again, much of this mirrors the reporting that we've been doing for almost a year now that led up to those congressional hearings, that there is a UFO crash retrieval program. But now the Daily Mail reporting that there are actually 9 different UFOs that have been retrieved and that 2 of them are intact.
Now, to your point, it mirrors a lot of the reporting that you've been involved in. We reported that Grush's claims that private contractors are involved in storing crashed UFOs, and that also came up in this report. So there's a lot of the same stuff, right?
Yeah, it did. And the private contractor element is really important, Connell, because so many people ask, like, how is it possible that all of this could remain a secret, that, there aren't more whistleblowers in the government, that there aren't more people that know about this? And this was brought up in today's report, too. Essentially, these craft are handed off, allegedly, to the private contractors. That way, they're able to be held more securely, away from the government's eyes. And then those private contractors are paid through dark money that is just buried in the defense budget, according to the sources who we've spoken to. And that's how, essentially, they're able to keep these things secret.
All right, Brian Entin, still on this story. Brian, thank you.
And now this bombshell Daily Mail article came out this week saying a secret office of the CIA has collected at least 9 non-human spacecraft from all over the world over the last 20 years. The Daily Mail also reporting of those 9 spacecraft, 1 had crashed with considerable damage. The 2 others were completely intact. The retrieval mission was allegedly performed by the military, and then these spacecraft were handed off to private corporations. Let's bring in Nick Pope, who investigated UFOs for the UK Ministry of Defense. Nick, you've obviously been our go-to UFO expert in this unprecedented year that we have had. I'm curious, what did you make of this report alleging that a secret branch of the CIA was conducting all these UFO retrieval missions?
Well, the CIA's Office of Global Access is exactly the kind of body that one would expect to be involved in recoveries if these stories are true. Normally, they extract personnel and items of interest from extremely difficult countries to get people and things out of. So these are the people you'd go to. And this story was amazing. I mean, nine crashed vehicles. But look, in a sense, you only need 1 crashed vehicle for this to be the most game-changing, paradigm-changing story in history.
Yeah, and this story has just continued and continued this year. And I want to get, your perspective on America's patience for this story in just a minute. But first, another fascinating part of this report was that the government, they'd go out, they'd gather these spacecraft, conclude the assignment, but then hand them off to private companies. In your eyes, why would that be the case?
Two reasons. Firstly, I think it would make congressional oversight more difficult and indeed take it further outside the scope of the Freedom of Information Act. But the other point is if these crash retrieval and reverse engineering legacy programs are what people like David Grush say they are, then it is these defense corporations that you'd need to figure out what these things do, how they fly, and whether we can replicate those technologies ourselves.
And when we keep saying, you know, non-human and extraterrestrial all year long, I mean, those words have been used more than ever before in 2023. But how do we know that the spacecraft stems from non-human technology and not from, say, rival foreign adversaries, you know, and their technology like China or Russia?
Well, that's still on the table. And I mean, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has previously said there isn't going to be a single neat solution to the UFO mystery. So, you know, those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can have some of this be adversary technology. Some of it could be our own tech, but some could be extraterrestrial.
Okay. That makes sense. And I know you read this latest report, so I know you caught this too. This latest story, it only cites 3 sources who spoke under condition of anonymity, who were all apparently briefed by individuals involved in those alleged UFO retrieval missions. There are a lot of people who don't want to come forward publicly out of fear of reprisal, but do you fear that America's patience and our attention span on this story is waning when it involves so many secret sources shrouded in so much mystery and not enough photographic evidence? I mean, I think people want to see the videos and the pictures that everyone's talking about.
They do, but I think people will also understand that if some of these people are still serving, they have to be very careful about this. They have to be sure that appropriate whistleblower protections are in place. And it's important because just literally today, the next round of UFO-related provisions that are drafted to go into next year's omnibus defense bill are going to be discussed between the Senate and the House. So this is the key, I think, to taking this forward and hopefully delivering the smoking gun proof that the American people and the world want to see. It's down to Congress to make sure that legislation goes through so that they can have the proper oversight and bring this into the public domain.
Yeah, we know that defense budget bill for 2024 includes eminent domain on all UFO evidence. We'll see how that plays out. Nick Pope, thank you so much.
Right. So UFOs are not new. They're things in the sky that can't be identified. It doesn't mean that they're from outer space. It could mean that they're from a private source somewhere in this country. It could be another country. It could be, I don't know. Okay? Back in June, UFO whistleblower David Grush, they tried to destroy his credibility. They could not. And he made headlines when he exclusively told News Nation the government secretly collects crashed spacecraft. Remember this interview?
By crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, you know, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do.
Now look, I'm not saying that you have to believe him, but he sure as heck knows a lot more about it than you or I do, okay? This is what he works in. But more importantly, we shouldn't be asking the questions. There are people who know the answers. And that's all I've been pushing for here, is that they should be held to account to the people who put them in power. Today, a new report claims that indeed, as Brother Grush mentioned, CIA, secret program, collecting downed UFOs. Multiple sources say that that agency, maybe involving others, uses U.S. Special Forces, okay, our best operators. Last time I checked, we don't use them for BS situations, okay? Sends U.S. Special Forces to pick up UAPs and then hand them over to private military contractors to figure out whose they are, what they are, etc. The report claims they've collected at least 9 of these, 2 intact. So why don't we know this? What does this mean, and how do we get more answers? Joining tonight, the man on the front line in Congress pushing for full UFO disclosure, getting people chop-blocking him at every turn, including elected representatives from within his own party, GOP member of Congress, Tim Burchett, and the independent journalist who broke the UFO cover-up story wide open when he interviewed whistleblower Dave Grush for News Nation, Ross Coulthart. It's good to have you both. Thank you very much. First of all, Ross, does this square with your reckoning at this time, these most recent reports that, yes, government agencies, at least including the CIA, have specific programs and manpower to deal with things that are in the air that they can't identify, want collected and studied?
Absolutely, Chris. Firstly, good evening, and g'day, Tim. What I can tell you is the Office of Global Access is the office in the CIA that has been coordinating this. They have been doing crash retrievals for many years. One of the things that I do take issue with in the Daily Mail story today is that they say there's just 9 craft that have been recovered. My understanding is that there are considerably more. And as the article accurately reports, this is done in collaboration with JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, notably with special forces drawn primarily from the US Air Force. So yes, the article is accurate, and I've got it also confirmed independently by multiple senior intelligence sources.
Congressman Burchett, what'd they do? They cut off the heat down there because you're pushing for too many answers?
You Yankees keep it cold up there in Washington, brother. And I just want to say for the record, both y'all speak with funny accents, but I've got a teleprompter underneath me that translates what y'all are saying, so we're good. But hey,
Ross's accent makes him sound more sophisticated. My voice sounds like I'm here to kill you. But listen, Congressman, let me ask you, what do you make first of the resistance to transparency within your own party, the other party? What do you make of it?
That's the uniparty, Chris. You know that. You close the door. Your dad and my dad were old school politicians, and at the end of the day, they'd go out and have dinner together and share, some common views. Today, it's you close the door. The only thing these people see is green, and that's what this is all about. It's about money. It's about power. It's about control, and the public's had enough of it. Thanks to good reporting by y'all, and I think we're going to get to the bottom of something here. This CIA issue is huge, and the fact that I too have had some conversations and verified some of this stuff is that it's true. So, of course, I haven't seen it. I don't have to see it, but I think the American public deserves to see what the hell's going on with this stuff, because until we get to the bottom of this, this thing is so big that it travels over into every agency that we have in Washington. Because you've noticed when y'all started reporting this, and polling data was showing that 55% or more of the American public believed that there was something else out there. Now you're seeing departments like NASA. Everybody at the Pentagon is wanting to get on the gravy train. They're saying, hey, we need to study this. We need a robust budget to study this stuff. Hell, they don't need to study it. They've got it. They just need to turn it over to us, and that's the problem.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.